In checking our mailbox recently, somebody sent in the question about whether they should drain their savings to pay off their debt. And we thought, that's a good question. Should you drain your savings to pay off your debt? So in this episode, we'll look at how somebody who has $25,000 in savings is looking to use it to pay off their $20,000 in debt. We'll also look at the scenario we came up with for their particular situation. And we'll also explore how a little known theory called Murphy's Law should be taken into account before anyone ever does anything as drastic like draining an emergency fund. So let's hop to it, shall we? Welcome to another episode of Minding My Money Mondays, a common sense talk about money matters. I'm Jared Rogers, CPA. If you're new to the channel and never want to miss another money and saving tip, then why not subscribe? To do that, simply click on that little cartoon dude in the lower right side of your screen. And don't forget to hit the little bell icon. That way you'll get notifications every time a new video is posted. So let's take a look at this person's situation. What they told us was that they had $25,000 in savings. They have approximately $20,000 in debt, which is made up of a $5,000 student loan and a $15,000 car note. Other than that, they're debt free. This person also told us that they make $52,000 a year. Better yet, they said that they can put about $1,000 a month into their savings each and every month from here on out. So if they have more in their savings account than they owe in debt, and they can actually add more to their savings each and every month, why are they tempted to pay off their debt? Well, unless you've been living under a rock, most of us will say that 2020 has been one heck of a year. To be honest with you, it's been one beast of a year. One might say that it's even been a train wreck on top of a train wreck type of year. So we get it. This year has been rough. And what this person said was that they wanted to end the year on a positive note. By paying down their debt and becoming debt free, they could say that at least something good happened to them in 2020. And we think that's a good mindset. But let's look at things from a financial perspective, shall we? While it would be good to get rid of $20,000 in debt, it will leave this person with only $5,000 in their emergency fund. Now, $5,000 in an emergency fund isn't bad, but isn't $25,000 a whole lot better? And given how unpredictable and chaotic 2020 has been, wouldn't it be best to be safe versus sorry? I'm sure many of you have heard the phrase, whatever can go wrong, will go wrong. This is often referred to as Murphy's Law. And while this law is mostly scientific in nature, it's very relevant in our financial lives. You see, in my life, I've learned that while many things often turn out okay in the long term, that's not always the case in the short term. So if this person intentionally took themselves all the way down to just $5,000 in saving, it's like sending out a direct signal to Murphy that says, come and mess up my life right now, like right now, like I don't have any money to deal with it. When you have $25,000 in the bank and Murphy comes and knocking on your door, you know what you say? Get out of here. I got $25,000 in the bank. But when you only have $5,000 and Murphy comes banging on the door, well, that could be a whole different story depending on what went wrong. Given all of this, we actually came up with a different approach. In business, there's a saying that goes, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. So when things go sideways in business, cash always rules. And this is no different in people's personal lives. So instead of paying off the full $20,000 in debt, maybe this person pays off $10,000 of it by the end of the year. $5,000 goes to the student loans and $5,000 goes to the car note. At least that way they get a small win and they can say that they paid off their student loans in 2020. This will leave the person with $15,000 in savings. And if they can add another $1,000 each month, that would be another $2,000 added before December 31st. This would give them $17,000 in their emergency fund, which is about 70% of what they had prior to paying down the debt. What they could then do is use the $1,000 that they say that they can save each month and put that towards the remaining $10,000 owed on the car, which means that if everything stays constant in 2021, then they should be debt-free by October of next year. Being debt-free in a year isn't a bad thing, but being debt-free in a year and still having $17,000 in your emergency fund, well, that is a great thing. And this brings me to my final thought. While I love the fact that this person had an emergency fund and was thinking of paying off their debt, we do need to keep something in mind. Remember, what the point of your emergency fund is in the first place is to deal with a financial emergency. Something so large that needs to be dealt with that you can't handle it using a small amount of savings or your credit. So what about getting rid of a car note or a student loan constitutes an emergency? Nothing. If these things don't get paid off immediately, nothing bad is going to happen. You won't go hungry. They won't come shut off your lights. Your landlord won't kick you out. And the bankers are not going to come and take your home. But those are some of the things that you need to have cash for because those are emergencies. If you need a little refresher or just want to know how to start an emergency fund from zero, then why not check out this video up here. It goes over how to start an emergency fund, especially if you are already strapped for cash. And just like that, friends, it looks like we've come to the end of another episode. If you have a question that you would like us to answer in a future episode, you can send it to questions@makemymoneymakesense.com. That's questions@makemymoneymakesense.com. And if you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up. That way, YouTube will recommend it to others who might be wondering, should I drain my savings to pay off my debt, or should I hold on to my cash in case some Murphy guy comes a knocking on my door? So like I always say at the end of every episode, it's been fun, it's been real. I'm Jared Rogers, and until we meet again, let's all continue to mind my money, and I will see you all next Monday. Take care.